Greetings and salutations to everyone in Viewerland. Welcome to the Thursday edition of The Rundown. It's the Thirsty Thursday edition. I'm your host for today's program, Mike Piwowarski, but I don't do this show by myself.
No, you do not. I will be your co-host, your co-pilot, your compadre, your sidekick for the day. My name is Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the left coast on this Thirsty Thursday.
Yes, 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 and you are my right-hand man. Make sure I'm trying to show everybody that.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Notice I am to the right of you. Well,
To
I
the
guess
right?
technically, yeah. Well, depending on how you're looking at it.
Yes, you're on the right hand of.
How are we doing, sir?
Oh, you're doing well. We're doing well, Craig. How are things with you on the West Coast?
Man, they are doing fine. They are doing fantastic. The weather has been phenomenal. Although we are now about to enter. Not about to enter. We've entered a major drought here in California. We are 39 out of the 52 counties are now in severe drought mode.
That sounds dry. That sounds very dry. This is then we're in the same in Florida. We're not in a drought. It's just very very hot, very very early, and we will be dry for the next couple weeks until the rainstorms start to roll in every day, and then we'll be complaining about how it's too wet. So it's just Florida, and we're going to complain no matter what we have going on.
Well, that's because so many of you are from New York, you know, where you actually have stuff to complain about.
Exactly right. Yeah, yeah. So down here, all we get to complain about is the weather, as opposed to the crime and Cuomo and De Blasio and everything else they've got to complain about in New York
Yep.
City and New York State. Yeah, yeah.
Right, right. But hey, at least you're in the gunshine state.
We are in the Gunshine State. The Gunshine State used to be much more gun friendly than it is now, but we're working on that with Captain Florida down here, Governor DeSantis, trying to fix those things. So we'll see. We'll continue to gain back our Second Amendment rights, to get rid of the gun control restrictions placed on us over the past 10 years or so.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan, and I'm sure that Florida Carry will play a big role in that.
They will play their role, that's for sure. Uh, let's let's jump into some California news, Craig. It happened pretty much as we were airing yesterday, so we couldn't give that to people. But there was a shooting in San Jose there at the Valley Transit Authority. Craig, how far is tell people how far this is from you and where in California this is basically located.
All right, so this is south of the Bay Area. They like to try and consider themselves, San Jose likes to consider themselves part of the Bay Area, but they're actually south of the Bay Area. This is about 90 minutes away from where I currently am in Sacramento. It is one of the most expensive places in the state of California to live. And, I'm just, Mike, what gets me mostly is I'm figuring out this must be, maybe it's a hoax, because I thought that with all the gun laws that we have here in California, that I thought that mass shootings weren't supposed to happen. I mean, they can't happen in California, right?
Craig, you know what you need? You probably just need one more law, and you wouldn't have to worry about shootings out there.
Exactly. That's exactly what it's going to take. I mean, ultimately, so right now we don't know exactly what type of firearm this individual used. All we know is he used multiple firearms. So one of the things they're probably going to now look to do, what we already have, well, let me clarify. We already have in place that you can only buy one firearm every 30 days,
Right.
Whether it's a handgun or a long gun. So, all right, so that's already off the table. Maybe they're going to make it so you can only own one firearm at a time. I don't know. But I just don't know how exactly, once again, one more law is exactly what they're going to say it's going to take in order to stop this.
Yeah, looking through this, looking through the stats, and most of this, the most comprehensive information, or at least the most information coming out from obviously the left side, from the liberal side. CNN has put some information out. Now we know that there's 9 victims out there, not including the shooter. He's not a victim. He's just a guy that offed himself. Victims between the ages of 35 and 63 years old. The Valley Transit Authority employs 2,000 people roughly. Now CNN will throw their facts in there, their misleading facts. Craig, did you know this is the 232nd mass shooting this year, according to CNN? So.
Yeah, well, we all know that CNN wouldn't know a mass shooting if it walked up and shot them. But so we all know they don't know that. But what's interesting about it is that, for example, they don't do things. They don't like take out things like, oh, I don't know, drug or gang related shootings. Or
Right.
Not only do they not, what's funny is they don't take them out, but at the same time they don't report when they happen either.
Yeah.
Right? They don't sit there and tell you, yeah, no, this This guy, this young African American male or young Latino male, was in the midst of a gang war, and was, someone encroached upon his drug dealing, his
Right.
turf, and they don't tell you about any of that. But if it's a guy who's angry at people at work, well, that one they'll report.
Yeah, it's the same way they report school shootings. If two gang members are walking down the street Saturday night at midnight and shoot each other in the parking lot of an open school parking lot, now all of a sudden it's a school shooting. We know that. I like now how that this is being listed as an attack on essential workers, Craig, a repeated attack on essential workers, because we've got to grasp that new verbiage that we're using. Yeah, again, Craig, you already said a little bit. Multiple guns. We don't know whether they were legally obtained or not. We don't know what types of firearms. The one thing they're certain of is they're not ghost guns at this point, which tells me, Craig, immediately that we know everything there is to know about these firearms already, but they have to get their stories in place.
Wait. Why do we have to report that it wasn't a ghost gun? How many mass shootings have involved a ghost gun?
That would be none.
I'm like, so all of a sudden now we're reporting on, okay, so why didn't they report that it wasn't a bazooka?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It
we
wasn't
do know
a tank.
This was not a Velociraptor.
It wasn't a machine gun.
Yeah.
Right? No, it wasn't a 50 cal.
Yeah.
I mean, let's report it wasn't a T-Rex.
Yeah.
No one was killed by a T-Rex.
Exactly right. Yeah, this is crazy. Again, this just tells me that, again, Craig, between the state your county prosecutor there, your police department, the sheriff's office, they all know what kind of firearms were used, but they have to get the story straight to make sure it fits their agenda. Because if they have to come out with more gun laws, they have to make sure what laws or what crimes were violated.
It's got, because clearly the guns have to be illegal. He has to have committed a crime other than just murder. I mean, it has to be a firearms-related crime other than murder with a firearm.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting though is that if that bill that we were talking about yesterday actually had passed, there wouldn't be a firearm enhancement for the shooting.
Right. Exactly. Right. One point I want to make here before we move on. The next one is the Valley Transit Authority gun-free zone, which means the law-abiding citizens were not allowed to protect themselves. How critical is that, you say? Well, listen, the San Jose Police Department, which is the jurisdiction this is in, and the San Jose County Sheriff's Office there now the Sheriff's Office has a precinct right next door. Not their jurisdiction, just happen to have the precinct right next door. They were there in moments, Greg, after this shooting occurred. And as they entered the building, the last shot of the bad guy putting himself away was done. This happened in mere seconds. Law enforcement officers traveled less than a couple hundred yards to get there. Still over. Because guess what? The individuals that work there, these 2,000 or so plus employees, were denied the right of self-defense.
Well, and that's the key is people don't understand is as much respect as I have for law enforcement, they can't be everywhere.
Oh yeah, this is not a big dig on law enforcement. They did a wonderful job. Yeah,
they can't be everywhere, and it just goes to show you how quickly stuff like this happens. And if you don't allow people to be able to defend themselves where they are, then all you do is increase the number of potential victims. Period. Yeah. There's no other way to look at that.
Yeah. Same thing we saw at the FedEx shooting, a month ago, 2 months ago. One gentleman did violate the policy and kept a gun in his truck, and he was shot on the way and killed on the way trying to get to his truck to help protect himself and others. Same thing. If you're not allowed to protect yourself, carry that firearm on you, you're going to end up like this. Because bad guys are going to break the law. No amount of laws are going to stop them from doing it. Craig, let's move on to the ATF. Oh, boy. I love this guy, David Chipman from the ATF. Craig, David Chipman went up in front of his nominating commission yesterday in the Senate House Committee trying to get his nomination to be the director of the ATF. And this guy put on quite the humorous show. I'm not sure if you saw this or not.
I did not see it. I did read about it afterwards. I was planning actually on going back and watching it today. The one thing I did notice was that, like everyone else in the world, he had a very difficult time actually explaining what an assault weapon is, and finally just had to admit it's whatever Congress said it was.
Yeah, it is, and in fact, he said if he when pressed for his interpretation of it, it would be any semi-automatic rifle with a detachable magazine above the caliber of 22 long rifle. So that basically is every rifle ever. I mean,
Ever.
it's just all it
Ever.
is. Um, so he wants to go now. When asked, "Well, are you going to take assault weapons? Do you promote assault weapon ban?" He said, "I will follow the laws as given to me as the director of ATF." So make sure you understand this, folks. We know he's already pressed for, as a member of the Giffords, left wing anti-gun crowd, that he's already pressed for the assault weapon ban. So he's already done that. And if the director of the ATF, whether it's constitutional or not, he's going to come door to door to take your firearms. Don't think it's happening. Just look at red flag laws, because he wholeheartedly supports those as well. This guy
Well,
wants to take your guns.
there's a reason why he's called Waco Dave.
Yeah, how about that? They show pictures of him at Waco, and he says, "That's not me. That's digitally enhanced." Were you there, sir? Well, I was there. I just wasn't there for that picture.
Right.
Really? Okay.
You're still
Okay.
Waco Dave.
Yeah. No, he's still with it. Yeah, this guy is the worst thing in the world. What we need, and we know that the Senate is split 50-50 with Kamala there being the deciding vote. This really is going to need those senators that are come from Democrat gun-loving states. You know
Yes.
what states I'm talking about. We get some
Yep.
West Virginias. We got some states in the South that are pro-gun states, and if they don't step up, this is not going to be pretty. This is not going to end with negotiations.
But you know what? To be honest, no matter who I think is in that spot, it's going to be all bad for gun owners, because at least for the Biden administration, it's really going to take us standing up to these folks in court, because ultimately he's going to put someone in those positions, because he already did it with his attorney general. He's going to do it with the director of ATF. He's going to put in place people who are going to seek to violate our fundamental right to keep and bear arms, and it's going to be up to us, you, me, and the pro-liberty organizations, to stand up and fight for our rights. And then, unfortunately, that's just how it's going to be for the next 3.5 years.
Yeah, agreed. Now, but the difference I think between putting Merrick Garland in as the attorney general is that he's not the one that's going to be enacting and enforcing the policies coming to your door to take your firearms away from you. I think this guy's going to be the face of that.
Yes, obviously. He will. He will be, and we saw what happened. Once again, we saw how it went down in Waco. Just so you know, that's potentially what we have to look forward to.
Listen, and was there issues at Waco? Clearly, there was. Who knows what was going on with those kids? I'm sure something was wrong, but the ATF coming up with a fake Class 3 empty grenade body that you could buy at any a pawn shop or novelty store. It was basically, Craig, a box of those where it says pull or complaint department, pull pin for service.
Right.
It was those kind of empty old hand grenade props, and that's what the postman found, and that's what started the whole ball rolling there to get them inside. Was through the ATF's interpretation of what had happened. And then, listen, that fiasco beyond that was Bill Clinton and Janet Reno, because we control. We are the liberals, and we will control how our government responds to these types of incidents. So that's what you have to look forward to with Biden, Garland, and if Waco Dave gets in there. Let's roll right along, Craig. Talking, dancing around the U.S. Capitol incursion, I'd like to call it, as opposed to the assault on the Capitol, as it's titled. There's a gentleman named John Earl Sullivan, who was one of the let's call it participants, attendees, in presence during the Capitol incursion. Now, he was he considers himself an independent reporter, a journalist, and he has put out stories and items before, and he covers things with the video. He takes a lot of video of incidents that go on. Well, he has become one of the 440 individuals that has been arrested and charged with numerous crimes. In fact, he's been charged with, I think it's 8 crimes total surrounding the incursion into the Capitol. Well, Craig, he's the one that has the video, the very clear video of Ashley Babbitt being shot and killed by an unknown government employee. You've seen that video, right?
Oh yeah, I've definitely seen. You mean the video of the only death via weapons or violence during on January 6th?
Again, you're absolutely correct. I like to analyze these stories because this really just shows how
Mm-hmm.
the media is the virus. They are the ones trying to take control
Yep.
and implant in you what they want you to believe. If we tell you the lie
Mm-hmm.
long enough, you'll believe it. What is it? The victors get to write the history books, and they're trying to
Right.
write the history books, even though they're not the victors. Here's some of the facts that they stated occurred that was in this video. One is that uh, of course, this happened because President Trump had his false claim of voter fraud. I think we've seen over and over from location to location that the voter fraud was real. Uh, the mob smashed the windows. Okay, windows were broken. We won't argue with that one. I don't know that it was a mob though. They fought the police. Craig, did you see any instances of them fighting police?
I haven't seen any video of them fighting police, but I do know that I've listened to audio of police who said that who were declaring that they were under attack. I mean, I don't doubt that there were people there who went too far and were fighting and arguing. And I know how mob mentality is, and
Yeah,
we on the right are no less subject to effects of mob violence than it is anyone else. And I think those who were involved in that ought to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Having said that, I don't think that what happened on January 6th is worse than what happened pretty much all of 2020, or at
yeah,
least the last half of 2020 in the streets of every major city throughout the United States.
yeah. Differences that I saw were that this fighting police was not fighting police. It was police standing behind a barricade, and then at some point going, "Nah, I'm out. I'm done." And you see police moving out of the way. You see police opening doors because they made the decisions themselves. You know what? This building, this building is not worth my life for these people that want to come in here. They weren't coming in. They weren't pointing guns. They weren't rushing through. They weren't burning cars, as we did see the rest of 2020. These were people coming through.
Well, that was by the way, that was the thing. Is I'm curious. I'm like, what sort of quote unquote insurrection
Yeah,
in does not include weapons or firearms? Because I'm like, literally the only firearm that was utilized was utilized by law enforcement. Whether, like you said, unnamed law enforcement officer was the only firearm that was used during the entire thing.
yeah, yeah. Listen, as far as I'm concerned, when you try to overthrow our government, you actually try to, legislate, take power, sit in their seats, and do things,
Right.
not take the tour through the building. That's what I saw. I saw a tour with no tour guides. But they quote in here that 5 people died. Craig, 5 people died as well.
Which is idiot. Well, no. First of all, let's be clear. 5 people did not die as a result of this.
Right,
Every single death that occurred on that day from people who were at the Capitol was unrelated, except for
except for Ashley Babbitt. Yeah,
Ashley Babbitt,
yeah,
the one person who was shot by once again an unnamed law enforcement officer.
yep, yep.
Everything else, even the police officer, and I'm sure they included in there that the police officer died. No, he died of a stroke, and it was unrelated to
Yep.
anything
And there
that
was
happened
one
on
law
January
enforcement officer
6th.
that did commit suicide a few days after that as well.
Right.
But again, you're going to blame the one incident 2 days before where nothing happened, as opposed to his entire career of what he may have saw, that put him in that position.
And by the way, all of the everything that's happened over 2020, where they came down on law enforcement and treated them like they are they are public enemy number one. Yeah, I'm
Right.
sure that had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, right. So we've got 440 people that so far have been arrested, detained, charged, whatever it happens to be. I want to point out there have been no convictions, and also, Craig, no acceptance of pleas, none whatsoever. That's how flimsy all of this is that nobody's even willing to I'll take the $500 parking ticket fine. No, they're like, no, court, buddy, court now. This gentleman, this individual, John Earl Sullivan. I want to point out again, he said he was an independent reporter. Not only, Craig, was he at this event, he also participated in a couple of the BLM protests on the other side, videotaping both sides of what happened. Yet, because he was here, now all of a sudden he's a militiaman, not a reporter.
Well, funny how that happens. I look once again. It's sad to say, but I've just had to come to the realization that justice is not even-handed anymore. It just isn't. And if you are on the wrong side of the political aisle, as far as our federal government is concerned, if you're on the wrong side, then you are public enemy number one, and you are guilty until proven innocent. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, that side happens to be the side that you and I are on.
exactly right. Exactly right. Let's roll right along. Let's head south down to Atlanta, Georgia. We've both got some good friends there. We've got good friends of the Second Amendment there. I think that's where President of Georgia, Stacey Abrams, lives. Also, if I'm correct, she's an Atlanta person.
The president of Georgia. I
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
she lost the governorship, but she's the president of Georgia now. I didn't know if you knew that or not.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Now I know. Thank you for sharing.
She's the president of Georgia. There's a city council member there, Antonio Brown, who was there at at some sort of ribbon cutting ceremony, and four Utes stole his vehicle from him right out from while he was standing there watching it.
And unfortunately, because they defunded the police, no one could stop them. No one was there to stop them.
It was said the four Utes were between ages 6 through 12. They hopped in the vehicle, and he sat there looking at them, going, "What are they doing? What are they doing? They're in my car. They're in my car." He actually goes, confronts them, and it sounds like well, according to him. So let's see what the real story is. But according to him, he rode the car T.J. Hooker style down the street as they drove away with it, trying to get them to stop. And so we'll see what this really turns out. But he did not call the police afterwards. It was enough for him to ride the car T.J. Hooker style, get dragged down the street, but he still doesn't call the police
And put it in the news. And put it in the news.
I'm thinking I'm going to call a wee bit of shenanigans on this one. You know?
Yeah.
Let's see what the real story is. Oh, by the way, did I mention he's running for mayor and looking for publicity?
He can't be any worse than the current mayor that they have.
Yeah, but what is her Keisha Lance Bottoms or something like that? Whatever her name is, it's a total adult entertainer name. But she has decided she is not running for office again. So that's why now there's a host of other people running to be the mayor of Atlanta.
Right. Yeah, dude, this is ridiculous. In the end, we've seen this time and time again. All of the places that seem to want to defund the police, all of them have seen like triple digit or double digit increases in crime, and in particular in violent crime and murder over the last year. And 2021 is absolutely from 19 to 20, and then from 20 to 21, it's not going to be any different. And once again, when you defund the police, the people who enforce crime, and then you decriminalize crime, and then you wonder, why are they committing more crimes? Well, it's because you have there's no consequences, and there's no one to enforce those consequences. I don't understand what world liberals live in where they believe that not enforcing, not having penalties for committing crimes, is going to make the world any safer.
It's a magical land with unicorns and fairy dust, Craig, where everything always comes out perfect just because they want it to. That's where they live.
There you go.
Let's jump off of the wannabe mayor of Atlanta and jump into the current mayor of Chicago, the Beetlejuice, Lori Lightfoot. There, which by the way, it sounds like a great '70s rock and roll name, right? From the Lori Lightfoot band. You know, it's something.
Don't say it a third time.
Oh, I know, I won't.
don't
But it's
don't
like
say
it sounds like
time.
easy listening kind of music, you know, like sailing, that kind of music, right? So, she has. Craig, you know, it's the gun's fault. We know that, right? But if it's not the gun's fault, it's the judge's fault, because the judges they continue to let people out of jail and not enforce the laws that we put in place to keep our people safe from firearms. Although that's not exactly true in her case, is it?
No, it's not. It's not true at all. You know, what's funny is that she actually came out and she's like, "Oh, I want to blame the judges for putting these criminals back out on the street." But I'm like, no, you're the one who've told your law enforcement officers, no, do not enforce the law. You're the one that has decided that, no, we don't want to have any laws. We don't want to put people in jail. We want to give them hugs and kisses, and we want to tell them it's all okay. That is, of course, unless they are, attacking my home, right? Unless they're attacking her place. Then there should be consequences. for their actions. No one can dare do anything to offend. What's her name? I don't want to say her name again.
Don't say it.
But
The mayor of Chicago.
the mayor. There you go. No one can dare do anything that will offend the mayor of Chicago, because well, she is who she is, and she's special, and none of the rest of us deserve the same exact rights or protections that she has.
There used to be a day when organized crime in Chicago was above board, and they helped the community, and they had, like the likes of Al Capone and all of that. And then that got taken over by the politicians, and they continue to screw up the organized crime there. Listen, let's look back on the Clintons, shall we? We could have secret meetings on a tarmac, or maybe I create some emails and then I get rid of my email server. I destroy it. Not this mayor of Chicago now.
Nope.
Greg, all of these things she took and she put them in emails, and they sent them back and forth, and they left them there. And in a Freedom of Information Act, all of these lies were exposed. They're all right there. They're so dumb that they put down their lies and plans to lie in emails, and then they just leave them for you to find them later.
It just goes to show you how stupid Lori Lightfoot. Oh my God, I said her name again. Oh my God.
No, there she is.
I'm sorry. Why did I say that? Why did I say that? I'm sorry.
Ah.
Let me stop.
I'm awake now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We can't do that ever again. Just let's be careful. Let's be careful and not do that again. But yeah, no, they put it all in emails. But dude, here's the thing, man. And I, being in California and dealing with politics in California, I deal with a lot of Democrats. And I will tell you right now, most of them, or many of them, think exactly like you and I think. They understand exactly where you and I are coming from, but they also realize that it doesn't fit the political narrative. It doesn't fit their narrative, so they dare not say anything. I know a bunch of them who own guns, who are pro-gun. In their personal life, they just don't believe the rest of us, that anyone else should be able to own guns. I know that they're tired of, they see a lot of the stuff that's going on in the streets, and they're tired of hearing people talk about defund the police, but yet they're going to institute policies and promote policies and talking points that are all about defunding the police. And I know that they're going to blame the system, even though they realize that many of these issues are caused by the lack of willingness by many in these major cities to enforce the law. And so, the sad part is that there are many on the left who agree with us, but because it doesn't fit their narrative, they're not going to stand up. And folks like this one are going to win.
Yep, absolutely. Craig, before we jump into our parting shot, I want to pimp a few products here for us. We have some items that our good friends at this is from Gorilla Machining. This is an upper receiver for America's modern sporting rifle. This is an 80% lower piece of aluminum that goes with the upper that will go to you, as well as a T-shirt over there from our good friends at Gorilla Manufacturing. So we've got Gorilla Manufacturing and Grid Defense that are bringing you these wonderful items. And again, we love pimping these things out. So make sure on Feedback Friday on tomorrow, you get involved. We want to see those comments, and best engaged or best comments going to get this package here. So we're going to send that out as well.
It's going to be all good.
Yeah, absolutely. Craig, we know that this past week, the state of Texas has given out constitutional carry, authorized constitutional carry. It has passed through the legislature. Governor Abbott has signed it. And ironically, we're talking about pimping out products. We got something else we want to share with you as well.
That 21-year-old pimp, that 21-year-old trafficker who is not yet a convicted felon, roll on into any place you want and buy a gun under this provision and walk around in whatever way you want. No training, no understanding, Wild West pimp style. That's what this bill does. And then that pimp can roll into whatever small businesses in your community with their stable of girls, and they can flaunt it. Wild West pimp style.
Wild West pimp style. Here's the thing that gets me the most about that whole commentary is they're already doing it.
Yeah. That it's all lies, perhaps. That's it. Although, Craig, from now on, when anybody asks me anything, sir, how would you like your steak? I'd like it Wild West pimp style.
Wild
That's
West-
just going to be
Wild West
it's
pimp
going to be
style.
my new thing. My new thing, sir. Which seat would you like? I'd like Wild West pimp style seat.
Can I
That's
have
what
it? Can
I'd
I
like.
have it Wild West pimp style?
That's it. Hey, you like that medium rare? Nope, I'll take it Wild West pimp style, baby. That's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to flaunt it. You know, that's it.
I gotta go get me a hat like that.
A pimp hat. There we go. Just a nice.
There you go. There you go. All right, folks.
Yeah,
Well, hey,
listen, these are all lies. We know that, right, folks?
Yeah.
We know that. We know that if you're going to have a gun, you can't be a felon. You can't just, well, look, it's constitutional carry. I'm going to forget that I'm a felon now and just carry a gun, Wild West pimp style. This is Ann Johnson out of Texas. Make sure you reach out to her professionally and let her know how you feel about Wild West pimp style. Ann Johnson, Texas State Legislator.
hey, folks. All right, that's going to be it for today's episode of The Rundown. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tomorrow's Feedback Friday, where we're going to be taking your feedback and handing out some freebies, thus feedback. So make sure you tune in. Make sure to like and share, and make sure you subscribe to us on Facebook, YouTube, and all of the other thingy-bobs, but especially Facebook and YouTube.
Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you on Feedback Friday.
See y'all later.